All right, you might remember a guy named Pete Buttigieg, also known as Pothole Pete. He was Joe Biden's Secretary of Transportation. He liked to bike to work, or at least he liked to have his security detail drive him a few blocks away from work, take his bike out of the truck, and then ride the rest of the way to work. Kind of an image thing. President Trump has not forgotten. Take a look.
Buttigieg, who has no clue, he drives to work on his bicycle with his, in all fairness, with his husband on the back, which is a nice, loving relationship. But he didn't have a clue. This guy didn't have a clue. And he's actually a contender for president. Between him and Crockett, you can have that party.
All right, it's probably true that Pothole Pete wants to be president. He spent time hitting the podcast circuit, trashing Trump and Doge, and spewing the same false recycled talking points about how Republicans, they want to cut health care for the poor people. A complete lie. This from the guy who once said that Joe Biden built infrastructure projects as grand and critical as the Hoover Dam. Turns out it was really just about 60 charging stations for electric vehicles, and he spent a fortune. A guy who took 2 months off after adopting a child, who took a vacation in Portugal despite a looming rail strike, and who waited 3 weeks to visit East Palestine, Ohio, only going after Donald Trump made a visit. And Pete was even warned about the issues facing air travel, the FAA, all the near misses at airports, the shortage of air traffic controllers. He did nothing. He left it to his successor, now Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. He's stepping up to the plate after a deep, deep dive just today, announcing a sweeping plan to build 6 new air traffic control centers, upgrade and standardize technology at airports all across the country, replacing 600 radars and doing it all as quickly as possible. Anyway, here with more details on all of this is the Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy. All right. You and I had a private conversation. You told me a couple of things that I think every American needs to be alarmed about. And you've been very open about it. You were open about it today. Number one, what did Pete Buttigieg tell you about this job? You did have a conversation with him.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, the prior secretary indicated to me that this was a department that ran itself. And, when he was a secretary, I'm not sure that he actually showed up to the office. Most of the office didn't come into work. And so as I've been here, this is my 100th day, Sean. I've been here for 100 days. And this is more than a full-time job. You have to show up. You have to work 12, 16 hours a day to do this job. And if you don't come, things don't happen. And for Pete Buttigieg, when you don't show up and you get multiple warnings from watchdog groups that say, hey, listen, the air traffic control system is failing. You have to take action. They did absolutely nothing. The Biden administration, remember this, Sean? They spent $1.2 trillion on infrastructure in America. $1.2 trillion. None of it went to fix the air traffic control system, which is a crumbling infrastructure, key infrastructure in this country. They didn't fix it. And so now we've been left with a problem, right? We had the DCA air crash. We then have had the Newark outage. And we have said in the Trump administration, listen, we don't pass problems off to the next administration. We actually fix problems. We take hard problems and we make them better. And so today we rolled out the most historic aviation plan that has been ever laid out in the history of man. We are going to rebuild every part, every aspect of the air traffic control system. So it's going to be, as you played the clip, it's going to be radios, radar, a whole infrastructure of telecom, all the front-facing and back office side of telecommunication for air traffic controllers. They're going to have a brand new system. But here's what's key. All right. This would normally take.
Oh, go ahead.
Sean, go ahead. I was going to say, this would normally take 10 or 15 years. We can do this, Sean, in 3 or 4 years, fix this system, but we need Congress to give us all the money up front, and then we need them to waive a lot of the requirements for permitting. If they do that for us, we can actually build this really quick and make sure our skies are still the safest in the world.
Okay, can you explain the shortage of air traffic controllers that you inherited? How many are we short? Because that is vital to air safety. And explain how antiquated the technology is at these centers and at these airports, especially the busiest airports around the country.
So let's start with the last question first. So the systems were developed when Elvis was a star. Rolling Stones
Oh,
were
my
a star.
goodness.
When Duran Duran was making music, I mean, we go back to the 60s and 70s, we laid out a lot of the infrastructure. It looks like it was from, remember the movie War Games or Apollo 13? It looks like equipment from the movie sets for those movies. It looks like we got the infrastructure from the Smithsonian, but it's not. It's the equipment that we use in American air traffic control towers. Really, really old. It all has to be brand new, state of the art. And, you know, with regard to air traffic controllers, we're 3,000 controllers short. They didn't stand up the school during COVID.
Wow.
And as controllers were retiring, they didn't have a pipeline of new controllers coming in through the academy. So we've done two things. Air traffic controllers who can retire after 25 years of service, we're going to pay them a bonus. We're going to ask them to stay past their retirement date to serve their country. I think we're going to get a lot of controllers to do that. But then we're going to expand the pipeline at our academy in Oklahoma City to get the best and the brightest air traffic controllers through that system and trained up. And then, you know, I think it's going to take us, you know, a year to 3 years to get fully staffed. Here's an example. I can take one of the most complicated air systems, say like DC, the Potomac Tracon around Washington, D.C., take a controller from there and move them to New York. It takes them a year to get trained up on that airspace. So you just can't move controllers around. They have to be trained in the airspace in which they work, and that takes time. And so we're navigating the mess that was left to us. We're hiring more air traffic controllers. We're fixing the system. But again, it's going to take time.
Can you bring, I'm almost out of time. This is too critical and vital. Can you bring back air traffic controllers that my understanding is they are forced to retire in their 50s? Nobody retires in their 50s anymore. I mean, they have all of that experience. Can you bring them back?
I can bring them back, yes. They might have to do some training, but we can bring those controllers who have retired, bring them back into the system. They're forced to retire at 56. I can approve them to stay until 60. Everything is on the deck for us to keep controllers and fix this problem. I agree with you. But, Sean, listen, you love aviation. Thank you for covering this story. Thanks for being a fighter for what we are going to build. It's an American historic effort. And, again, we can do it. We're America.
Listen, the flying public, they need to know that their skies are safe and that the equipment in the, you know, air traffic control centers is not made in the 1950s and 60s. That's insane. I'm sorry you inherited that mess, but thank you for fixing it. Sean Duffy, thank you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.